everyone. Hello. Welcome to this amazing session, Money Matters. Hi. Let me see who is there with me, who is joining me. Okay, we have many people over here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for joining in. It's great to see you. I mean, I can't see you virtually, but it's great to see you on the comments section. And so happy to read your comments over here. Good evening, Rini. Good evening, Paul. Hi, everyone. I'm Gordon Emmanuel. And I love blue color. And also, I love seeing people smile. Yeah, I can see you smiling on the other side of this camera right now. But the only thing is, I can't see you like physically. But I believe that you're smiling, looking at me smile. If not, then do smile because it's free. Let's see if you're there with me here, then just let me know in the comments where are you joining us from. Would be happy to know that. Okay, there are so many hellos coming over here. Just taking time and reading your comments. Hi, hello. Hi, Vinny. Hi, Rini. Hi, Christy. Good evening, everyone. Oh yeah, same here. I'm also getting good vibes, seeing all the comments, and so happy. Catholic Bug is back with another session, and this is going to be an amazing one. Because believe me, paisa bolta hai. And that's the reason we have today's session called Money Matters. Hello, you can use the comment section and just just say hi. Okay, Sylvan from Ahmedabad. Hi, thanks for joining in. Good evening, brother. Good evening. I guess now we all are used to this attending session live. So this is, I guess, the new normal we are adapting to. So it's great to have you all. Hi, Rakesh. Hi. Yes, that is what we are here for. Financial matters, money matters. I hope you'll have brought your money. आज पैसा डबल करना है 1 घंटे में. Good evening. From Amchi Malad. क्या बोलता है पब्लिक, क्या बोलता है मुंबई की पब्लिक. दिख रहे नहीं यार कमेंट्स में, डालो कमेंट्स में. Put the comment on, like, just write down, let me know where I'm from. Excited to know. I'm from Mumbai and waiting to listen from you through the comment section. That is the new normal. Okay, I guess we have people. Okay, so once again, welcoming you all for this session called Money Matters by the Catholic Bug. It's been a while and we are so happy to be back and presenting to you this session. Money is one of the important topics, I feel. We often don't talk much about it, but we, the team of Catholic Bug, we thought that this is one topic that we should come up and we should have a word with it and also see what is the Catholic perspective of this and how a church has a message for us regarding money. So today we have amazing people with us, 2 experts, I would say, and it's great to have them in our session. And talking about them, we have today Richard Mascarenhas and we have with us Edgar Faria with us today. So talking about Richard is a chartered accountant with 10 years of experience in management finance, legal, and finance strategy. He's currently working as director of finance with Sense India, and also is a former member of National Professionals Ministry and is a vocalist of musician of gospel band Chorus. And the second panelist we have is Edgar Faria. He is a chartered accountant with experience of 8 years, and he's worked with Deloitte Haskins and Sells, American Express, and now working as a manager in Genpact. He's happily married with 2 sons, 3 years old and 1 6-month-old. He's also a bass guitarist from a very well-known band called Acts of Apostles. So I would like to welcome you both to this amazing session, Money Matters by the Catholic Bug.
Hi, Godwin. Thank you.
Hi, Godwin. Nice to be here.
Yeah, we are excited to have you. Okay, so we have over here people from different places joining us. So today's topic is quite important, and we feel that regarding money, we should have a word. And I feel when we talk about money, generally people don't open up much about it, and it's like a very confidential thing. And so today we are here to discuss that with you, and also we feel that money. Many Catholics do not engage in this discussion. Like money matters are kept quite personal. So, like for me, money, or when I say about money, what thoughts come to me is that it gives me a financial, like it gives me a freedom. Like now I started working, and when I get that, money at the like, when I get my salary at the end of the month, it's so happy to see that numbers, and it gives me a freedom that what, I can go and buy something for myself, and it for me basically money right now is a small freedom that I have, and I would love to hear to know that what are your thoughts about money. What's money for you all?
Okay. So personally, when I look at money, it is it is a means to achieve something. So money is not an end in itself. It is something that we have to achieve something. So let's say we knew the olden times where barter system used to work, and you gave something that you had and got something else that you needed. So money is something that is exchange, is the value of exchanging for something. And so, like for example, it could be anything. If I want to buy a house in future, so money has a reference to that house. Money has a reference to my daily nutrition, my food. Money, as in reference to my hobbies, if I want to travel and go somewhere on a holiday. So money is something that is not an end in itself, and has reference to something that is connected with me. Maybe my my needs, my dreams, my priorities, my plans. So, for example, idle money sitting in a bank account doesn't really make sense unless it is prospectively going to be used for something, that I have something in mind to use this money for. So, like I think money is from that perspective, yes, because some people, different people, 50 rupee would mean different, would have different connotations and meanings for a poor man and a rich man. So it's it's very subjective, like what money would mean. And I think for me, the meaning lies in what that money will be applied to get. Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's a saying,
I think
money.
I'll just like to add on to what Richard said
Yeah,
perfectly. I think he spelled it out perfectly. For me, I think money is just more of a gift, from God, and how I keep it as a gift from God, and not, sometimes in life it does overtake as a priority, but I've kept it as a gift from God, and that's how it's been for me.
that's nice to hear. Yeah, adding to that, money gives us a sense of security also. So, like, it's good to have money in your bank. So, yeah, I want to know, like, what does church say about it? Like, what does church has a message regarding money? What are church thought on it?
I think,
So when we, yes, Edgar, you want to go ahead?
yeah, 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 go ahead.
Okay. So when we look at the church's teachings on money, they are all of the teachings of the church are based on the Bible, from the scriptures. The church draws its great teachings from the teachings of Jesus primarily. And we see in the gospel there are so many teachings that Jesus has given on money, whether it is the talents that are given, which the people, which the stewards multiply, the wise stewards multiply, or whether it is the rich man and Lazarus, or whether it is the old woman who gives the copper coin. So Jesus has so many examples, and there are also teachings where Jesus talks about taxes and about Peter paying the taxes, and Peter asks Jesus, Master, how do we pay our taxes? So there are so many teachings Jesus has given on money, and the gospel is filled with so many teachings on money. So the church draws from this rich heritage. Apart from that, Also from the letters of Saint Paul, the other books of the Bible, that is in the New Testament, a lot of letters of Saint Paul in terms of generosity and giving and sharing within the church, and also from a lot of texts from the Old Testament, wisdom sayings are there, and the Old Testament practices, which were being practiced. Even Jesus found that in his culture, the Old Testament practices that were there. So the church draws from all these teachings and brings to us the teachings on money. Yes, Edgar, you would like to add?
Yeah, I'm no expert on church matters, but I relate to one parable very closely, which is the rich young man, the who comes to Jesus, and I have done everything. I sometimes relate to that too, because I have done so many good things in life. I say that, "Oh, God, I'm perfect for you," but then that one thing is the priority always God. That is always to be kept in mind, and that is one thing that with money, I think at times it gets a higher seat. So that rich young man parable is reminding me always that you know who your priority should be.
That's nice, nice, amazing to hear. So, talking about like church point of view, I have this like, since I've heard this saying that when you earn and when your first salary comes, you have to give it to church, like your first salary. Also, one more thing is said that 10% of your salary also should be given to the church. So, and it is referred to a term as tithing. So, like, what is your view on it? Like, how can we talk more about it? Like, what's your perspective on it?
I think something. So how do I put it? So for example, if I uh, purchase say something from the shop and all, I owe the shopkeeper something. So similarly, if we always say that we this is a gift from God, then of course we are due something back to Him. And so what is that? If we realize that this is something coming from Him, so what are we doing for that gift? With our income. So that is one thing very simple for me, and I'll just share an incident which happened in 2015 and again in after that in Panama. So our band was invited to the World Youth Day, and it looks very attractive from the names and all, but when we realized the expenses, finance part behind it, so it was huge. And back in 2015 when we had to go, so we had to start planning for it in around 2013 or 14, and the expenses per person was around a lakh. All right, so a lakh means per person, it's huge. We just started earning, and we couldn't think that the middle income guys that we are, can we spend 1 lakh rupees at a go? And but we started saving for it, and this is something we put together as our contribution towards the ministry and towards God. And that was not a tithe. It was much more than the tithe. I can't say that was 10% of my salary, because that wouldn't have made my dream come true of playing in front of the Pope. So that happened. So I don't relate as tithe as say tenth. It is something that you want to give to God. And what is that you want to give? Is it the tithe? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? That's all up to you. And I think we've just realized as a band, uh, even Panama was even more expensive. We spent around 1.8 per person. But that doesn't bother us now, because we know what the final purpose is for that money. So that is my experience with tithing. I would love to hear Richard on that.
Yeah. So in terms of tithing, like I was always taught that tithing 10% was in the Old Testament, and Jesus points out that if you've got two coats, you can give away one, so that makes it 50%. And Jesus further on goes to say that give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God. So when I'm baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I belong to God. So how can I give God just 10% of myself? So, but yes, in terms of real monetary terms, that just uh, what inspires me most is that whether 10%, when the answer is, I go back to Mother Teresa, who said, give until it hurts. And that has helped me detach from making money a god in my life. So typing is that process of me breaking free from saying that money can buy me anything in the world, and money is the ultimate power in the world. So my personal journey with typing has been, okay, when we were article clerks, when Edgar knows, in CA you hardly get paid. Uh, you just get very less stipend. But when we begin also earning, I used to look at just 10%, like the bare minimum is what I used to look at. And that too, because we are chartered accountants, our intellectual side sees that, okay, will we get tax exemption if we type? So all those calculations were there when I began. But gradually, those things started giving way. And I started seeing that God is calling me to support even areas where I may not get a receipt, I may not get a tax exemption. And gradually to the point that I have to I have to give for the sake of the kingdom of God, so that the church spreads, so that people who are in need, uh, can can experience the life in fullness as the Lord promises. Uh, Tithing personally, I think the more we give, the more we are liberated from this attachment to money. So I have been inspired by my friends who are really very generous people. Uh, so one is that. The second is that uh, I personally found a lot of breakthroughs in my life through typing. So uh, I remember a couple of years back, I was going through a very serious health problem, and I was wondering of, I was praying about it, and very well, it may sound difficult to correlate, but I realized when I gave, when I paid my tithes, when I actually was generous, when I paid something that I wanted to give for a very long time, yeah, I kind of got liberated from that health condition very well. There have been other times also where I've been struggling with some particular condition, at either a struggle at a workplace or in ministry. We've got breakthroughs when we are generous, to the point that sometimes when we've needed money for taking up a particular project, but at the same time there is another project that also needs money, in terms I'm talking about in terms of ministry, and we've just said we give because today somebody comes to us and asks, let us just give. We've seen that God blesses immensely in two areas. One is in giving us detachment from money, and the second is in blessing us with all that we need without, I think much more than we can ever dream of. So that has been my personal experience with typing.
I think just to add on, more than the tight 10% part of it, I would like to, concentrate on the fixed commitment part of it. If we can just commit something to the Lord, I think that is the heart. Lord sees the heart. So I think that is something we should concentrate on.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear your insights. Even like I quote Saint Francis Xavier, he says like it's in giving that we receive. But the giving part is actually very tough. But once you are in that in that motion of giving, and things happen, and you receive, and that's amazing to hear. So moving ahead, you both like you're also experienced people and experts in this field. Like your journey with handling money is, I'm pretty sure, has been like a roller coaster ride, and now you're expert in this field. Like okay, now you know how you can handle money well. So I want to know what is like your view on stewardship. Like how can a youth who's starting to earn money, or like there are people still who don't know about money or how to handle them. What are your views towards it, or how, like any tips for them? Like what can they do to handle their money well?
Like Edgar shared, that money is a gift from God. No matter whether whether we think that I generated it myself because I was hardworking, or because I put my heart and soul into it. It is still a gift, because even the hard work that we are doing, even the opportunities that we receive are a simple blessing from God. And so, if the Lord has given us money, we have to look at it in this way. This is how the church teaches us to look at it. that God has given us something, and we have to give an account of it to the Lord someday. Whatever it is, it's not just money, but our talents, the opportunities we receive, the spiritual blessings we receive, everything else. So, but coming to money, we are accountable to God how we use our money. So the first point I think to be taken care of by youngsters is reckless spending. The difference between want and need, we should be very clear of it. Although it can be very subjective with different people, but I think it depends on how our inner conscience is formed. We should be able to differentiate between what we want and what we need. We may want so many things, but what is the need of the hour? First, we fulfill our need, and then see, can we assist somebody else with their needs who's underprivileged, and then go into the broader dimension of, okay, my wants, that are okay, beyond what my basic needs are. Do I want to spend in something? So the first thing is all the kind of holics that we'll have, whether it's alcoholics or shopaholics, or any kind of addictions. I think those all things are actually a hole in the piggy bank. So youngsters need to be very careful of that, especially nowadays. Earlier this month, and even now, we have Amazon and Flipkart sales. So you get the message and you open the app without any plan. You say, okay, I am not going to buy anything, but at the end of the day, you may have like five things on your cart. So it's important to know, what do I really need. Finally, you realize, okay, in your credit card statement, the shopping that you've done is much higher than what you had planned. So we, as youngsters, need to be very careful of those choices that we make, because you don't want to buy things and keep them at your house uh, unused for a very long period of time. In the lockdown, I'm sure many people bought things before the lockdown and then could not use them during the lockdown. So it's very unpredictable. The second thing is, with money, it's important to save for the bad times, and save with some projects. Say, for example, in mind, you want to invest in a car someday, so start saving now. Perhaps it will be helpful when you, in a couple of months or couple of years, when you really need the money for down payment for a car or a house, or any other form of an asset that your house needs. You will find it useful. So save. One is for the bad times. The second is save for the utterly unexpected, like tsunami comes in and the whole economy is shattered. So it's absolutely unexpected. So save for the unexpected. And the third is save for the bad times. Every one of us is going to maybe hit a hard road someday, or maybe save for somebody else's hard road, because when somebody else comes to you saying that, hey, I'm going through a tough time, you don't have to think and make excuses saying, let me check. You already know, if you are not going through a bad time and you save for a bad time, perhaps you can take some of it and help somebody else in their bad time. The third is, yes, growing the money is what we can do, but I think we'll take that up a little later on this session. What youngsters could do is making wise decisions into how their money can grow. And the last point I would like to make is, for youngsters who are earning money, it's good to have a buddy with whom you can be transparent. It could either be a close friend, or else it could be your own family member. Preferably, if it's your first job and your first stint with money, a responsible member in your own house, your parent or your grandparent or your guardian. It's good to be transparent with somebody about your money, at least till you learn how to manage it, and they are confident that you are able to manage it. Because quite often, some of the worst choices that we make in money are the things that we have not shared with people. And maybe if we had just had an opinion on that choice, perhaps we would have done it differently. So many youth who are just beginning to make choices in money, it's good to have a buddy or a person with whom you share. Uh, even after, even if you're not a youth and you've moved ahead in life, it is always good to have somebody with whom you discuss your plans with money, just to make sure you're not getting, you're not making a wrong decision. Just like with doctors, we take two opinions at least before we go in for a major surgery. So it's important to have at least an additional opinion other than ours in terms of money.
I just want to add one thing. The Richard mentioned Amazon and Flipkart. I just received a message that day when the sale was going on, for Mac. So Flipkart and Amazon have a sale going on from this date to this date, and for maximum savings, uninstall the app. So I really like that. It's to avoid the shopaholics.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah, it was tempting quite a bit for me as I just started earning and I was going through it. I was like, should I buy this? Should I buy this? It's very tempting, but I'm glad I passed that wave and I saved my money for bad times, I guess. But I'm very happy that you shared that points over here. So, going ahead in this topic, in the beginning, as I mentioned, that money is a topic where we kind of hesitate to talk. And as you have mentioned over here, that we should have someone that we can discuss over here. So, like I've seen in general, there are two sections of people, like people who earn money through their regular salary, and there are people who do business, and that's how they earn their income. So, do you have any what do you say tips for them, like for the people who are earning money through a salary, how they can manage their finance, and for the people who are doing business and how they can manage their money well, or like also there are people who do both, like they have their first income and also their second income, and as they say that you will be happy earning 50,000, and at the same time, yeah, it's like they say, even if you have 50 lakh, you'll not be happy because it depends on like how you wisely use your money and how you do. So, what are your views for them or tips for them?
I think very good question. So there are two aspects of this. So as you mentioned, there's a salaried guy and a business guy. So what is the main difference between the two is the variability of the income. Okay, the salary you can plan it. Okay, there's a fixed salary coming in. But with the business guy, it's a bit difficult because his business may be going up, down, till it's, of course, after a few years it normalizes. One thing very important for both of them is what do you call logic. Okay, so simple thing is maintain a schedule of your incomes and payments. It's very important to plan when are your fixed expense. So there are also, if we, sorry, I'll get into little finance terms. There are two types of major expenses which we call. One is a fixed and one is a variable. Okay, so the fixed ones are more kind of EMI which need to go, or some fixed rent, or something which needs to go irrespective of anything that happens. So those are our cost which we have to meet. So we need to note down those costs as to when and what time of the month are we supposed to meet them. So it's very important that we have income for those sorted out. So if we don't have a calendar with ourselves that when are we going to, this outflow is going to happen, and accordingly we need the inflow before that. So we need to plan our calendar according to that. So that is one very important thing which will happen in case of both. For the business guys, I think they have one additional what do you call, an advantage where they can claim their expenses too. So I'm talking about a little tax perspective here. So they have a little benefit that way, that they can claim their expenses which they are incurring to gain that income. So that is one advantage which these guys have. So a main thing for me is for both salaried or income, keep a fixed. For the salaried one, it's a bit easy because they know when their salary is coming in. But for the business guys, it's a bit difficult because they need to maintain this schedule of the income and payments, which really helps to plan out your month. And that is when you will be able to plan out your savings too. Because if you're not able to meet your fixed cost, uh, you'll have some real trouble meeting out the variable ones, and there are sure to be variable expenses each month. Okay, so first thing, plan out your fixed cost. You need to meet out those on the intervals that is due, and the balance you need to manage your variable expenses, and if any, try and save it.
Amazing, amazing. That's nice. Richard, do you have any points?
Uh, well, nothing to add here. Just that it's important to for us to look at our annual bank statements at least once in a year.
Okay.
I'm not sure many people do that because we are so used to this scroll culture. Na? We are fine looking at SMSs and OTPs, but very rarely do we look at our annual statement. See, one benefit that I uh, had while looking at my annual statement is once, my mom popped up a question to me. My mom also, for that matter, worked with chartered accountants for a broad span in her life. So she once asked me a question. Okay, Richard, this is what you've earned in the year. Uh, have you looked at your statement? What have you saved? What's your spending pattern? So okay, that was the time I couldn't really answer her, and it prompted me to look at my statement and see, okay, uh, like, do I really know what's happening in my bank account, or am I just like somebody living in the present? This See, the culture today is like that. No, just care for today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will sort itself
Yes.
out. And sometimes even this kind of wrong notion, even in the name of Christian teaching, comes that, oh, God will take care. You don't have to worry about things. But at the end of the day, even the Lord wants us to be accountable. So it's good to take a look at one's statement and see one's pattern. So whether it's pattern of savings, pattern of spending, what are the intervals when you get your money, if anything. I think if you just pick up your statement, we are so inquisitive to ask questions. Otherwise, I'm sure we'll ask a couple of questions on our own bank statements, and I guess it'll be an introspection into ourselves.
That's amazing. I guess viewers are taking note of us because I am taking note, and this is very important points like our experts are sharing with us. So that's amazing to know that we have to have an account, and once in a year that we should have a look at the statement of a bank and know what's happening. And moving ahead, in talking about money, there is terms like EMI, like the people take loan. Also, at my level, in my college level, I used to borrow money from my friends for some event, something like that. So, like in general, I knew people like they borrow money from people, and like just as we mentioned, just to show off someone, and they lend money, borrow money from their friends, and they fail to give the money back, and then the friendship becomes like a mess and everything. So what are your thoughts on like borrowing money, like regarding this term?
Okay, so I guess borrowing money could be for two reasons. One is a genuine need, and the second is something that social pressure kind of gets you into. It's good when you're borrowing money to discuss it, like I said, to have somebody else with you, maybe one, two people, again, very wise and prudent people to help you decide in terms of borrowing. So, okay, in terms of youngsters, it could be social pressure. Everyone's giving a party, a big party, and having is really spending hard on party, and maybe you don't have the money to throw that kind of a party, but just because your peer group does that kind of a party, you want to do it. So you go at home, you ask your parents for money, you see, okay, you get 70% of it. Now how do you get the 30%? So you borrow it from somebody else. So that's one possibility. uh, the second could be, okay, you have a genuine need, you want to buy a house. Okay, you are getting married and you have to move with, say, your wife or your family into another place. So you want to save money for a house. So that is one place where you borrow. The other thing could be, okay, your family is growing, you need a car, or else an old car is not working well and you need to sell it. So you want to borrow money for that. So there could be various points. I guess we need to be very clear whether it is whether it is a genuine need that drives borrowing, or it is merely a social pressure. Quite often, people will borrow to keep up to the status, like for marriages. You see people borrowing money for marriages, and that's one of the informal ways of borrowing money for marriages. So, and it's just to keep up social pressure. So, in terms of borrowing, some of the principles I think which can be looked into is, first, whether we have the capacity to repay. Okay, let's say we tick that box and say, yes, I have the capacity to repay. The next question is, in how many years would I like to repay this loan? So it's very simple maths. If interest is involved, then the person charging you will tell you, okay, how many years it takes, what is your monthly or quarterly repayment schedule, and then how long will it take. If it is an informal loan and interest is not charged on it, then you could simply divide your total amount by the number of months or number of periods to say how long will it go. Then to ask ourselves another question is that during this period when I want to repay, am I planning to invest again in something big? Because if you're already repaying a loan, you may not really have the capacity to borrow another loan. Okay, you may have, if you're smart enough, you may have the capacity to borrow something small, but it's important to take into mind whether you want to have the multiple loans running at the same point in time. So the capacity to pay and how long does it take and how much EMI goes from your monthly earnings is what you have to see. The It's important to see that your EMIs don't exhaust your monthly savings. Okay, let us say you took a loan and then you are very generous in per month paying it off. You may realize that you may not have enough money to even meet your basic needs. So please bear in mind that your EMIs should not eat up your entire monthly earnings. At least you should be able to save after paying your EMIs. The longer the period, the more you will pay interest. So it's good to check with the bank if you have an option for prepayment. Generally, some banks will give you the option for prepayment, whereas some banks may not give you the option. Some may give you the option of prepayment, but with certain terms and conditions and charges attached. It's good to just go through it in detail and see what sense you can make out of it and whether it's beneficial or not. It's good to clear your loan as soon as possible. Let's say in the earlier tenure of your loan, if you do a prepayment, you will save a lot on interest. Let us say you're going to do a prepayment you're having a 7 years loan, and in the last year you're going to do prepayment, saying, oh, finally, I'll clear my loan in 6 years instead of 7 years. Believe me, you won't really save so much on interest because you have already paid the interest in your first, say, 4 to 5 years. So it's good to make a prepayment pretty early on. In terms of borrowing from people who are close, it is important to repay them as per the agreed commitment, because if we do not repay, we would be creating knots in relationships, because there have been many occasions and instances where borrowing and money matters have broken relationships because people have not repaid in time, people have stretched the repayment schedule, somebody else must have been made to go through a tough time because the one whom they lent the money did not pay in time. So it's important, if you're borrowing from whosoever, preferably if it's an informal source, to maintain the trust, to maintain the honor and the respect, and repay the loan well in time.
I'll just add one thing in that. Basically, when you talk about borrowing, there are two types of borrowing. One is a short-term one, and then one is a long-term one. We need to, first, as Richard said, we need to see what our need is, whether it's a short-term one or it's a long-term one, and then need to decide how really to go about it. One extract which I can share personally is the use of credit cards. I think I have learned that over the period, because if you use it well, you are getting say a 1 month free loan. Okay, because you need to pay it say after 15 or 30 days after your billing cycle is done. So if you can use that well, and your capacity to repay is basically split into that month, so you need to see where your cycle ends and when your expenditure is incurring, and accordingly when your inflow is there. As I said, that schedule of payment needs to be there, income and payment. I think credit cards, that way is a good use, because you can get certain benefits out of them too. So that is a add on there.
Thank you. That's great to know. And when you said credit card, just to the ongoing trend, it's like that Cred app is coming, and it's so tempting. It's like they say, like, download karo Cred. The people who are using credit card, I guess now that's a new thing for them. But happy to know that this points regarding we finance the borrowing part and how you should pay back. And moving ahead, like now we consider like paisa bhi aa gaya, like we have earned money, we have money in our bank, and now the next thing that is regarding taxes. Like people try to also avoid paying taxes for some reasons, and there are people who are honestly paying taxes but still have this mind like, why do I even pay my taxes? Like there's no benefit for me, but still there are people who are paying. So for just to clear this, like what is the Catholic point of view of paying taxes? Like what does the church have to say for this?
I think before what the church says, I think it's pretty much legal. Legally you need to pay your tax. So again, as we mentioned, the salary and the business part of it. So salaried guys don't have an option really, to pay or not, because it's already deducted in their income and they get it. So they don't have much options. As far as tax is concerned, we can save tax through investments, but I think if, as I think Richard mentioned in the start too, if you take advice from a few wrong people, you can save tax in other ways too, which is pretty much living on the edge. So you get a lot of sayings that tax department just scrutinizes just 5% of the returns, and even after those 5%, only 1% are caught, and stuff like that. But rather than concentrating on those stuff, once we if we can just concentrate on what is legal and what is right, I think that's what we've called to do as Christians. And if I just go into a biblical reference, I can just remember when Jesus says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what is God's. So that's pretty simple, and it's pretty straight to understand that what is legally has to be given, it has to be given. There's no what do you call, two ways about it, that you don't have to give it, or whatever. What is legally right is legally right. So the church says that too. What is legal, just give it to them, and what is yours, keep it with yours. So I think those are two teachings which we should really stick on, and not get influenced by those people who don't want you to stick on to those teachings. Yeah, and if we say that taxes we are paying but we don't see the benefits and all, well, that's not in our hands. So we need to pray for these guys that they start using it for the right purpose. Yeah, otherwise we don't want to be a part of their wrongdoing. So let's concentrate on our good work, and we need to pay what is due to them.
Yeah, true, very true. And we should do our good part, and let's continue doing good, I believe. And moving ahead, there was this trending show that's happening around the corner, and it's called the Harshad Mehta story, the 1992 scam. And it's been a pretty, what do you say, hype, and like it's going around, and in that there's a famous dialogue which is like, risk hai to ishq hai, kind of. And that whole entire show has been directing us towards stock market investment. Like there's so much money in stock market and you should invest over there. And also there are many ads that tell us about stock market. And personally for me, even I am scared. Like I used to always ask people around my circle, and in general it was like, "Arey mat dal paisa, doob jayega paisa stock market mein dalega to." So there was this fear always, like should I go there? And then I feel कि भाई पैसा डूबने वाला है, so I think so I should avoid that. So I would love to know, like since you're experts in this field and you all have like knowledge about it, like what are your thoughts on investments?
So, in terms of investments, like there are two things, like you said. One is the basic wisdom as a person that you have, and the second is the church's teaching on it. As far as the Catholic Church's teaching is concerned, the church does not say not to invest in stock markets, but we have to be very clear what are the risks involved and whether we are ready for those risks. And if it is like basically, if it is money that you are handling, you need to make sure that you are not knowingly taking a risk that depletes your purpose of having the money itself. Okay, if you are saving money, you are saving it for a particular purpose. Like I said, it is with reference to something in mind. If you're saving for your retirement, then you don't want to lose that money for your retirement. If you're saving for a house, you don't want to lose that money that you want to invest in a house in future. If you're saving for your child's education, you don't want to lose that money. So it's important from that perspective to know that what are the risks involved. Having said that, in terms of basic wisdom, the financial wisdom will say that where there is risk, there is reward. And so you will see where the risks are high, the rate of return, the rate of investment is also very high. I think the point is whether we understand where we are putting our money. So you could put your money in two kind of investments. One where the return is fixed and it is predefined. So when you make your investment, you are told, okay, this is what rate of return you are going to get on your investment. That is the first category. The second is where the return is market driven, and so when you make your investment, you are told that mutual funds are subject to market risk. Read the offer document carefully before investing. Meaning to say that read the offer document, understand that your returns are going to be volatile and are going to depend
And
on
they
various
say
markets.
that very fast, and they say
You have
that
to
very
say very
fast.
much.
Just
So
like
yeah.
Richard did now. He was like, maybe bol deta fatafat.
So you see, read the offer document carefully, and none of us really do it. I think my advice would be the ones who understand how the return is calculated and how you're going to get the return should invest in those things. If you are going by somebody else's advice, then it is your own risk. If tomorrow your return is less, you cannot blame the person saying, hey, you told me to put in this fund or you told me to put in these stocks. Now they are not yielding much return. So I think the onus has to be on us. We have to be able to take responsibility for where we invest, especially in terms of market driven investment. If you understand how the market works, if you understand how stock prices work and you invest in stocks, and you know you make money out of it, it is okay. But well, another dimension of putting your investments in into stocks or mutual funds is also, although it is a little it's a little tricky, but yes, I'd like to highlight it. It's good to invest in something you believe in. So let us say you are signing a petition on change.org against mining, and then you put all your investments in a company that's into mining. Okay, so I think they are two contradictory actions of the same person, right? So it's important to be true to oneself. Uh, I'm not saying whether you should invest in what kind of company. That is uh, one's own call based on one's conscience and belief. But you can't be say holding the flag against a particular evil or it's a particular agenda and then investing for the furtherance of that own agenda. That would contradict one's own investment plan. The second dimension I think we have to look at is when we are investing, factors like age, uh, the any particular project we're investing. So like when you are young, you can take a few risks. If you lose a little money when you're young, you have the capacity to earn it again in the next. If the money lost is not too high, you have the capacity to still earn because you will, if you're salaried or making, you have a business, you will be able to earn. The next is
Yeah.
whether you're saving for a particular project. Okay, if you
Mhm.
have a deadline, you want to buy something in say 2 years time, and the market crashes after 1 year, your project would be stalled. In terms of project, I mean any particular reason. Say you want to travel, you want to go for an international holiday, or you want to put in a house or car or anything. So your due date, so your target date would get extended if there are risks involved and things don't go the right way. The next is your risk appetite, whether you're willing to take risk. How much risk are you willing to take? So different funds have got different levels of risk. Some funds have got less risk or more. You have to assess how much risk you're willing to take. The next is, like I said, understanding of the market where you are investing. If you understand the market well and good, you will know when to invest and when to pull out your investment. So these are a few things I guess are important when it comes to one's money and in terms of investment. It's also good to understand the taxability of investments from another perspective. If you look at it, that whether your investments are going to yield you are going to be taxable or non taxable, because one of the tricky thing in an investment is that even if they deduct TDS, they would deduct tax at only 10%. But let's say you are in the 20% bracket or in the 30% bracket, you would have to pay the additional tax from your pocket. The uh, company where you're holding an investment may only deduct a certain portion of tax. You may have to pay that additional liability of tax. So it's important to know whether what's going to be a tax liability on your investment returns. And from this year, you've also got additions, taxability on dividend and interest on other kind of investments. So like bonds and debentures. So it's good to be clear about what kind of investments and what kind of returns you're going to have, how it's going to be taxed, and talk to an expert if possible on that.
I think just to add on that, if you see, if you see the market and stuff, what is the main thing we should like and see is, what are the conditions? I don't know if we can get a holistic view on that, but basic things like, is the government stable? Is the company you want to invest in, whether the top leadership is stable? These are a few factors which we need to see, where we need to invest in, because these, if the top management is leaving the company or something like that, that says that the company is not stable. Okay, so if you're planning to invest there, it's kind of dicey. So we need to look at those aspects too. And of course, as far as the tax aspect is concerned, even the government encourages us to invest longer. Okay, there is more tax on short term if you keep it for 1 year or less than 3 years. So that is one thing too. If from the taxability perspective you want to see, we would like to keep it a little longer.
One
Great,
thing which
great. Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to add is that, especially for youngsters, it just occurred to me. Sometimes we are very quick at acting. So if you like, I remember when I was young, and I used to get these SMSs. Okay, trade in this intraday, trade in this, trade in that. So I definitely made a few wrong choices like that, because you get that message and you call up your broker and say, hey, इसका क्या चल रहा है, इसमें लगा दो, and you get a statement. Later on, you realize that you could never. I mean, I realized I could never really yield that much money out of it. So, as a youngster, please be very careful in terms of SMSs that you get. Last day, hurry, invest now, or else intraday trading, guaranteed return. All those SMSs and forwards that you get, please be
Yeah.
ultra careful. And like Edgar said, that do your own research on the company. I have burnt my fingers and learned the hard lesson. So please take this advice. It will help. Don't act very fast on messages.
So for all the viewers, like experts are saying that do your research and don't get into such like what you said, traps by these SMSs. But yeah, it's great, and I'm so happy to know that your points regarding stock market. I guess for like for the audience and for me now, like that fear is gone. Okay, it is good. You can invest, and even the government is telling us. So I guess that's a one good takeaway for us, that is you can invest in stocks too, but doing your own research and taking all the necessary precautions. So for the viewers, like if you have any questions like regarding money, finance, you can put it down in the comments. So like after this, I have one more question, and then I can ask your questions. Ask your questions to them, and they'll answer it to you. So once again, for all the viewers who are watching this, and if you're enjoying the session, then just put it down in the comments so that we know that you're enjoying this session, Money Matters. And moving ahead in this session, like since we are all in this pandemic, COVID has what do you say, caused a lot of trouble, but also has taught us amazing things in this tenure, like past 8 months. But at the same time, there are also many people who have lost their jobs in this situation, and for them, the finance and everything has been like a change, and now it will be a new thing for them to start a new journey. So, like, I wanted to know, like, what is the message, or what can you suggest for the people who have lost their jobs in this COVID, and how can they move on now from this crisis?
I think personally it is very sad to see such loss of jobs. I just think about the unstructured sector and just see all the waiters and restaurants closed down, and I was just wondering how do they actually earn. So it's really very sad to see all that happen, but you can't avoid it. But on the other hand, as the time passed by, what I personally got an advantage was to do certain online courses which I wasn't able to do earlier. So basically, if you see, so my office is in Noida. So my home to Noida is around 50 kilometers. So that's around 1 hour, 1.5 hours of travel. So if I say both ways, so I'm traveling 3 hours a day. So, but now I have that time, 3 hours a day at home. So what am I really doing with that time? Or if I am lost my job, what is my approach to that? Is have I just left it completely, or am I upskilling myself? Because this is the time where everything has become online now. So I have a lot of things which I can learn online. So I have started personally a few courses because in our field, the updates are pretty very rapid, and we need to get updated very quickly too. Otherwise, we lag behind. So this time has certainly given me that opportunity to invest in some other skills and upgrade on my own skills, apart from, of course, spending time with family. But on the professional side, if we see, we can, of course, get down and get depressed that we lost our jobs, or we can enhance our degrees. We get a lot of online certifications and all that can add to your resume or CV. So we need to concentrate on that aspect now because work life structure has changed completely. And how we approach it from now on is, we have the avenues available in our laptops just at the click of a button. So what do we want to do is now with us because this situation is very clear for the past 8 months. So how we approach it is now within our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to add to what Edgar said that personally I have become a student in this lockdown, uh, catching up on things that as a chartered accountant I feel I can upskill because you see the course changes every 3 4 years for CAs, and if we cleared say 10 years ago, then there is so much that even we have to catch up on because the youngsters learn the new courses teach so many new things and we can catch up on things. So, like in terms of upskilling, I have become a student, and you see, the more I learn, the more in my office where I work, I have the opportunity to give that broader dimension and that broader vision to my team, and the way I work. Uh, the learning curve is steep in that sense. It brings in a lot of value to my company, and I see that as an opportunity. My company also would grow through it. That's one side. It's really sad for the people who've lost jobs, but all we can do is yes, pray and trust that even in the desert we will find a stream, and trust that yes, things will change. But we just cannot sit waiting for that change to happen. We have to also let that change happen within. If I also feel another thing for people to understand is that we cannot have mental blocks. So if we say, okay, yes, with due respect to different considerations, if we say, okay, I need a job only in this geographical location, we have to test that condition. Is that just a mental block, or is it really a condition based on a lot of wisdom? If I want only a certain kind of a sector where I want to work, or only a particular job that I want to do, one particular designation, or one particular geographic region, uh, I think we have to question those conditions again to see that can we open up a bit. Like I'm saying, okay, those could be real questions, but discuss it with family, discuss it with friends, close friends, or discuss it with a spiritual guide, and see that am I having unnecessary conditions because you could have a global opportunity. Let's say uh, something opportunities are less in one place, but there could be a scarcity somewhere else. You may be valued somewhere where you don't know. So are you open to that opportunity? You may be valued in a position which you've never thought of, but are you ready and willing to go for that? I think that is the question. You may be valued for something that may happen after you upskill, but are you willing for that? So even in while we are waiting, for people who are going through a tough time. Even while we are waiting for things to change, I think we should constantly be at work. And like the parable Jesus says, that you don't know when the master is coming. In terms of the wise virgins, they kept their lamps burning. That means that yes, things should be burning in us. We cannot go out of fuel and say, oh, I'm just waiting without fuel and it's all dark around. I think we have to keep burning and waiting for that time when the master comes. When the opportunity strikes, when the good news is going to reach us.
Yeah, rightly said, rightly put. Yes, and I'm pretty sure that we should not lose hope. And I firmly believe that this is not the end. And pretty much sure that lockdown has taught each one us something or the other lessons, and have brought other skills that were hidden in us. And surely there will be a way ahead for the people. And moving ahead, we have questions from the viewers in the comment section. So I just read out the first question for you. Uh, it is by Rennie Verghese, and it says, what about lending money to someone, to a friend, relative? How can we be more prudent in this matter?
So I believe that yes, love and charity would require us to help our neighbors in need. Also, the Bible says, "Greater love has no man than to lay down his life for his friends." And in terms of laying down one's life, that is so much more than lending. I think lending is a beautiful way of helping somebody out of a difficult situation. But having said that, it is important uh, to not just restrict that help to money. To We have to, I think, go beyond just the money dimension to engage with our relative and see if we can help them even beyond money, whether we can help
Yeah,
them emotionally. If they are,
yeah,
let's say you are in a financial trap because your investments, kind of uh, got wiped off because of market conditions, and and you're borrowing because of that. So can you help that person out of that financial difficulty? That is more important by uh, assisting in some more in a broader way. Okay, you can give money, but also try and understand what is the other situation, to it. Uh, it could be
right.
a health condition due to which the person needs money. So can you work around and find referrals for treating that health condition in an economic way, or finding a place where it is subsidized? So I think we have to go further and also get engage a little more with, our family members emotionally and
Hmm.
as a support. So well, that will build our relationship and help us grow more closer.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
right,
which
right.
is great. Overall, it's great to
Hmm.
help, but go beyond that. Just the money aspect.
Hmm. Yeah, rightly said. So,
Yeah, I think just one thing, if we concentrate on the finance factor here, so it's very easy, when friends or relatives to just give money and forget it, and not talk about it. But I think one very important thing which we need to do is talk about it upfront. So once we are giving that money, as Richard already said, that we need to be considerate, because ultimately they are a friend or relatives. But we need to set the ball straight, that this is the money that we are giving out to you. How do you plan to repay it back? Otherwise, that will end up creating barriers in the relationship. So we need to be not just money focused, but we need to define how this money, maybe if we say, if he gets a loan from market at 10%, maybe we just say that you can give no interest for us, we just give us monthly repayments back. But so we are helping them in a way, and since they are our friends and relatives, they are getting it at a lesser interest rate. But I am of the firm believer that we must set terms and conditions for the repayment too, because ultimately we don't want our relationship to spoil, and money has the capability to spoil that. So I think that is one thing we should keep in our minds.
yeah, truly, right. And moving ahead, we have the second question, and it is by Tony Chose. He's asking, is making money by investing in share market against the Catholic teachings? My point, is there no real work done by us when we are investing in the share market? Share market is
I
here.
think Yeah, yes, I think exactly. You have to do your work. That's what we started saying. Oh, you can't. You have to do your work. You have to research. It's even if you are investing in, say, a bank. I'm not talking about share market. If you are investing in a fixed deposit, you still go out and see which bank gives out the highest rate of interest. Okay, you don't invest in some bank where there's a very low rate of interest. So if we talk about the share market, we can invest in it. There's nothing harm in that. But even the share market, there are two types of investments again. So if we just go deeper, there is a intraday which Richard mentioned earlier, and there's a investment for a long term. So these are two different type of investment with two different logics behind them. So the intraday kind of is a little involving a betting sort of, that we say that this share is going to make uh, this much money today. I bank on this share going 10% higher today, and I make that money in. That is the intraday type of. Make it simple. It's much more complex than that. But we need to
Yeah.
understand the market before investing. Okay, there has to be that work, real work done by us before investing, because even the market, if I just say so, mutual funds give returns, say ICICI and SDFC, they give a return of around 8 to 12%, okay, over long term, but they will never advertise that. The government has restricted them to advertise it at 4%. Okay, so they will, if anybody, you ask an ICICI agent or SDFC agent to give us in writing that the minimum return will be 8 to 12%, they'll never give you that. They'll give you that 4% is the minimum return that you will get. Okay, but you need to do your work behind that before investing in the market. So it's totally with the Catholic Church. There's nothing really against, uh, unless you're of course investing in the intraday thing, which is a bit of a gamble and sort of.
Okay, sure. So that I hope that answers the question, Tony. And moving on, I have one question for both of you. Like, what will be your advice for uh, 10 years younger version of yourself who's into just getting into earning his first salary and is starting to get into finance, where he's going like it's a new kind of it's a world for him handling money and all. So, what will be your tip, or what will be your suggestion? What is your learning from this experience that for a beginner who's about to get his first salary, and how should he start his financial journey? Both of you, can you all share your experience and a tip for them?
Okay. So if I were talking to myself 10 years younger, I will say that get serious, look at your bank statement, get serious with your finance, and listen to people. Uh, because I guess those are things that youngsters, like my young self, could have listened better, uh, read a little more, and try to understand concepts. And the third is look at my earnings and get a picture of what I want to do with it.
Thank you, Richard.
I
Edgar.
think there are two ways of learning how to manage your money. Either learn by your own mistakes or learn from others' mistakes. So I learned from others' mistakes. I didn't really make the same mistakes that others made. So as Richard was mentioning earlier, the stipend that we used to get when you were articles. So that was, I don't know, how much was it, 1,000, or I think something like that, 1,000 or 2,000. But I had a very strong will. But that 1,000 rupees, I felt that I have earned it, and I didn't want to spend it at all. So I had that aim of, I just started the band then. So I was, since being the bass guitarist, I wanted a new bass for myself, and I was a very inquisitive. What is the cost of a bass? And then I went to this online and saw the shop and all, and the cost was, a minimum good sounding bass was around 19 to 20,000. I was like, my God, I am earning 1,000 a month, When am I going to get there? But
Uh,
that focus was very clear for me that I need to get that, and I just started saving straight away from that 1,000 because it was my hard-earned money. Even 1,000 was very precious to me. But of course, I think any new guy earning a money, his money will feel the pain of spending it, and if he doesn't, he'll learn from his mistakes.
Amazing, amazing. So rightly put. That's great. So as I was talking about Richard and Edgar, so both of them have a couple of things common, and one of the thing is like both are musicians. So now we had talk about finance, money, and everything, and like going towards the end part of the session, like there's a special performance for y'all, for all the viewers who are joined us in this session from Richard and Edgar. So yeah, over to you again, Richard and Edgar, for your performance.
So I love this song by uh, an artist called Ron Kennelly. Many of you must have heard him. He's quite a veteran on the Christian music scene, and it's called "Give to the Lord." It talks about generosity, and also it's based on the gospel, uh, uh, a gospel passage that says that give and it will come back to you. Good measure, uh, pressed. Wait a second. Good measure,
Yeah, yeah.
pressed down and shaking over. Wait a second. Let me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we understand.
So when you give to the Lord, you will be blessed multiple fold. And it may not come back in the form of money only, but in various forms. And yes, it could also be money, but yes, in various forms. It's just good to give to the Lord, give without holding back. Okay? Give, and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Give, and it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord. Give your love, give in faith, give the joy and the smile on your face. Give as the Lord is given to you. How you give is a reflection of your gratitude. So give, and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Give, and it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord. From your heart, give your best. Give unto God, and you will be blessed. Don't be stingy, don't be tight. Learn from the widow in the Bible who gave her lifetime. So give, and it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Give, and it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord. When you give to the Lord. When you give to the Lord.
Praise God, praise God. That was amazing. Thank you, thank you. It is great listening to that. And yeah, so once again, thank you, Edgar and Richard, for joining us and sharing your experience and your lessons. And I'm pretty much sure that there is a lot of takeaway for our viewers and for myself personally also, as I also begin my financial journey and will surely take away and apply these things in my life. And yeah, so once again, thank you for joining, and thank you for all the viewers who are watching us on YouTube, on Facebook. It was great having you all, and also thanking the JY Mumbai Council, the TCB team, and all the participants once again. And yeah, have a great weekend ahead, and also do subscribe to our channel, The Catholic Bug, And if you have any questions or if you have anything to share, you can email. The email is been displayed, thecatholicwork@gmail.com. So yeah, looking forward for yet another amazing session in the future. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining each and everyone. And till then, I guess Gordon Imal signing off. See you in the next session. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.